Hello and welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. And this is the match reaction to Everton's 1-0 defeat away down at Bournemouth. Another disappointing result. Another, another performance where we looked completely clueless going forward, which is I think definitely the main source of concern for most at the moment, and just that lack of intent in like when we have the ball, um, the lack of any clear tactical planning, not getting sufficient numbers forward into the map, not utilizing the space, all these things, and it's just another game where it came to a head against the side that with pretty similar resources to us, really, in which they've just outclassed us and just look so much more organized and well set up. They've got a solid defensive base. You could say it wasn't, today wasn't really a good example of it on show because they didn't really have too much to do. But just when they go forward, they just have the numbers and were swarming us. And to be honest, they'll probably be coming away from that game thinking how it was only 1-0 and how it took so long for them to take the lead. Um, there was a few good saves from Pickford here and there, a few good blocks from, Tarkowski and, a couple of last-ditch tackles from Brantford or whatever. But mostly it was just wasteful finishing on their part that stopped it being 3 or 4-0. Uh, and yeah, that and whereas for us, didn't really have a single good chance all game, really. Like the Corey one at the end where it just goes wide of the post is about as good as we got, and that was just a pot shot, really. Just a ball just like ends up at his feet, and he gets the shot away, and it's just wide of the post. But that is it. Um, Other than that, just absolutely nothing. Um, Attacking wise to show for that, no indications that there's going to be a goal at all. And yeah, like I said, I'm people who watch these videos on here will know that I've been a staunch defender of Dyche for a long time, but a lot of this has to come down to the manager, um, because it's clear when we defend, we know where what we're doing. The players know where they need to be, they know what they need to do. Whereas attacking wise, it does almost seem like we're winging it, and it's just like once you get the ball, try and get it up the field, and and just hope basically that you're able to fashion a chance. There doesn't seem there's no pattern to play. Players don't get forward enough, and they're clearly not being told to do that. Like Ashley Young would want to go down the wing and overlap and support Harrison or Lindstrom, whoever it is out there. And in Dye as well, like just getting no support from Mikalenko. We just don't have the numbers going forward to create coherent attacking chances. And I don't know, that it feels like we've never really been like that under Dyche. But I think last season, a lot of the time, we were creating stuff and we were having good chances. We just weren't taking them. But now we're not even having the chances. And but as I say, based on that lack of the like someone like Calvert-Lewin, who's got one of the worst like conversion rates in Europe, one of the least prolific strikers in Europe, like you need to at least create a high volume of chances just to increase the probability of him putting one of them away. But if he only gets like one or two chances a game, if that, he didn't even get that in this one, then he's just not going to score, is he? Because he's not able to fashion the chances for himself. He's someone who relies on good service, and it's the complete opposite to what he's got at the moment, isn't it? Um, and there were slices of bad fortune, and that Brozier getting a pretty freak injury for kicking the floor. And God knows how long he's going to be out for now. He looks in quite severe pain. That might change our plans in January now. There's been talk about Beto maybe leaving. If Rozier's out for a long period of time now, that might have to be postponed, which of course halts our progress in getting more names at the door and potentially getting someone in. Um, and yeah, in Die, like I thought started pretty well. I thought in Diane Lindstrom like started okay and looked quite lively, but when Die seems to pick up a bit of a knock, and that seemed to limit his effectiveness. And then obviously Lindstrom gets hooked at half time. I'm not entirely sure that was the right decision. Bringing Patterson on, who I thought was very poor. And it's someone that a lot of fans for a long time have been saying should be getting involved more. It doesn't seem like Dyche rates him too much, but I think we got a pretty clear indication today why Patterson's not been playing for us. And honestly, the same goes for a lot of the players. And when we were getting those draws in December where we were looking really solid defensively, but obviously weren't offering too much in attack, and had a couple of opportunities to counter attack where maybe better players would have taken the chances. Um, there were people saying that maybe this squad's not as bad as it's been made out to be, or the way that it's set up, and that maybe it only needs one or two players to be brought in uh, to really push us onto the next level and potentially go into the top half. And I just don't see it at all. I really don't. I think we greatly overachieved last season with the players we have. Getting enough points to finish 12th. I honestly think the squad is where it is now is about what it's good to be. I think only the three promoted teams, your Leicesters, your Ipswiches, and your Southamptons are the only teams that have less quality in their squad than us. And even someone like Ipswich, I think, pushes us close. I genuinely do. You look at how little investment has gone into this group of players over the last few years, and how much money we've had to um, like how much money we brought in because we've had to sell players just to keep the lights on at the club. We have invested the least in this squad out of the whole Premier League, and if you do that, you're going to be in a relegation fight. Um, so as I say, I think Dyche is holding us back a little bit, but at the same time, I can understand why he doesn't trust these players, and is relying on us just because the best players we have. Let's be honest, are Pickford and Tarkowski and Brantthwaite. That solid defensive base is the best we have to offer. So you put that first, you prioritise that, and you prioritise just trying to keep hold of a clean sheet. Hopefully, you manage to nick a goal, but a nil-nil draw is is sometimes just the best we can wish for. That is the reality of the situation I think we're in at the moment, especially away from home against a side like Bournemouth that I genuinely think aren't far from pushing from Europe. And I think we'll finish top half this season. And obviously, the reverse fixture this season was a bit of a bizarre one. Obviously, they came away with a win that they probably didn't deserve. But we don't do that. When have we ever won a game that we haven't deserved to win it, where we've just been not been in it at all and yet still managed to nick a game? It doesn't seem to happen. Um, and so, yeah, like I said, I genuinely think this squad is about where it should be, which is pretty concerning. Um, but like I say, if there is a manager out there right now who's available right now that you wouldn't have to like get from another club, pay compensation for whatever, who'd be willing to come here to manage as well, which is obviously a quite a big caveat as well. Um, who can get more out of this group of players with no signings whatsoever than Dyche, then get him in. But I genuinely I'm not sure there is. You look at who the clubs around us are bringing in. Like that Vitor Pereira was someone we turned our nose up 2 years ago, and he started okay at Wolves. But would we have been happy with him in charge? I don't think most of the fans would have been. Similar with your Ruud van Nistelrooy, or I can't even remember the name of the guy Southampton have got in. But there's been no signs of improvement there. Leicester looked okay for a couple of games when Van Nistelrooy came in, but they're right back down again. And I think that is going to be the saving grace for us again this season. I think it's going to be a bit like the Lampard season, or even last season. With your Lutons and that, and Burnley and Sheffield United not really putting up much of a fight at all. Possibly three of the worst relegated sides ever. I think it's just going to come down to three teams being worse than us again. And obviously it's a crap situation to be in. Um, and yeah, like I say, there's going to be a lot more matches like this season where we just offer nothing, and just go out with a whimper, another defeat to sides that a few years ago you wouldn't even have dreamed of losing to, and it not being viewed as an absolute disgrace. But like I said, the reality of the situation is I wasn't expecting us to get anything from this Bournemouth game, and lo and behold, that's what's happened. So I'm hardly surprised, uh, and that's the really upsetting thing, I guess. Last season at Goodison Park, and that is pretty much the situation this club's in at the moment. So yeah, like I say, it's very difficult to work out where to go from here. I'd like to think we measure up the decisions well, the freakins, the people that are going to be in charge of making decisions at this club now that we're sure if we get rid of Dyche that whoever we're going to be bringing in will make an improvement on the side right now, because like I say, I I would still, for me, be gambling um, on Dyche keeping us up again this season. And like I say, it's not going to be pretty. There's going to be a load of games this season that are going to be crap, but hopefully, it's just we managed to get enough points on the board. let his contract run out at the end of the season, get someone in new who can just have a complete fresh start, start to bring in players in the summer where hopefully we can spend a little bit more. Obviously, it's still not quite clear what the situation is going to be like that in terms of PSR. We might have to sell a few players. Bramford springs to mind to be able to get us over the line with PSR for next season. But if that's what it takes, um, and get a few more players in, start afresh, have a whole season, like a whole pre-season even for a new manager to come in, um, and get used to this group of players, implement his new tactical style and stuff that's hopefully a bit more progressive than the dross we're being served at the moment. Still seems the most logical way to go, but you've got to weigh that up about if we're just on a sinking ship right now. Um, and obviously, a new manager right now would get a lot more of the fans back on board. You might get the new manager bounce from that. Do you wait till February in that case to do that when the fixtures? Because I say we've still got some very nasty fixtures coming up. The likes of Spurs and Villa. I think we have to play Brighton as well in January, but in February the fixtures start to ease up a little bit and some more winnable games come up basically. So do you wait until then to get the new manager bounce in, or do you wait till the end of the season, or do you do it right now? Like I say, it's it's such a difficult situation, and the more results like this happen, the more the arguments for getting rid of as soon as possible start to ramp up. Um, and like I say, I don't know who we bring in right now who does the right job. Like I said, there might be names um that you can think of that would be better than that. Leave them in the comments below. Um, but yeah, like I say, it's such a bleak situation, and yeah, we just offered absolutely nothing in that game, did we? Um, and a side like Bournemouth playing in that tiny little ground, absolutely outclassing us as they do every season. We've still never won there, even though they've been in the Premier League for almost 10 years now, with a few seasons out, of course. Um, yeah, it's frustrating, but that is a blueprint, I'd say, Bournemouth. Just in a few years, the team has improved rapidly, and as I say, I really think they're not far from pushing up for Europe now. Got a really good manager in. That's how you do it. A lot of people criticised them for getting Gary O'Neill out when they did at the end of the season as well. Like I say, the guy was given a whole pre-season, this Iriola, to implement his new style and get the players on board and things like that. And pretty quickly, Bournemouth have really managed to turn things around. So it can be done. Um, but as I say, we've just got to focus on staying up again this season, and hopefully it's the last season of it being as dire as it has been the last few years. Um, and hopefully results like this are going to be something of the past. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I think that pretty much sums up this. Another pretty bleak match reaction video. Please leave a like if you enjoyed or if you agreed with some of the things I said. Comment below giving your thoughts on the match and obviously on the future of Dyche, which will again be probably the main talking point once again after a result like this. And subscribe to the Toffee Blues channel for more Everton content. And we will see you in the next video. Up the Toffees.